Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers, sisters and friends. Welcome to another episode of the LDM show. So we're here with brother Sabur, who's busy reading a book right now. Assalamu alaikum, bro. How are you?
Okay.
I'm good. So what you reading?
This is Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion, and in this show we're actually going to be doing a debunking of this book in actually 1 minute. It's going to be a world record of actually
It's
ripping
actually a
apart
record
book.
because I've seen some refutations, but nothing in a minute. So this will be very interesting.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know what? We'll get right into it, right? So I'm going to give you a minute, right? We're going to start pretty much now, and you can start. Let's go into it. Go on, break it down, bro.
Bismillah. Now, the God delusion, basically, you would think majority of the book is about why God is a delusion. In fact, the majority of the book is not about why God is a delusion. Only maybe a small section, something like maybe 15% is why God almost certainly doesn't exist. That's chapter 4. The rest of the book is his moral feelings on this is right and this is wrong. When from an atheistic point of view, there is no objective right, no objective wrong. Like he actually... he agrees in his book, there is no evil, there is no good. There's actually a quote in his book. So, majority of the book, you can say from that end, just doesn't make any sense. Now, let's go to that 15%, chapter 4. Why God almost certainly doesn't exist. From page 156 to 158, roughly those sort of pages, he basically makes the argument, because Darwinian evolution is true, therefore God doesn't exist. So, let me repeat. Because Darwinian evolution is true, therefore God almost certainly does not exist. When you can believe in God and you can believe in evolution. There's many scientists like Dr. Francis Collins and other evolutionary biologists who believe God exists and evolution is 100% true. And as we're going to play in this clip here.
Look, you don't have to be an atheist to believe in evolution.
And as you can see from that clip, Dawkins himself admits you can believe in a creator and believe in evolution. And you don't have to be an atheist to believe in evolution. So that is basically his central argument.
Wow.
That since evolution is true, God doesn't exist. What am I doing for time?
We're pretty much slightly over a minute, but it was excellent because
Okay.
you actually nailed all the points, and that's very interesting, especially that clip. You know what? You don't even have to refute him because he refutes himself in that clip.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. This is an academic, apparent academic, who is saying one thing in his book and then saying a totally different thing on video.
But the thing is, for you to understand what his agenda is, we're going to play the full clip.
Look, you don't have to be an atheist to believe in evolution. Now, if your aim is to propagandize in favor of evolution, that obviously is the best seduction technique. But if your aim is to kill religion, as mine is, just let me finish. If your aim is to kill religion, then since evolution is manifestly true, then if there are people out there who really believe that if you are an evolutionist, you've got to be an atheist, then all I've got to do is to persuade them of evolution, which should be comparatively easy, since the evidence is overwhelming, and I'll turn them all into atheists.
If anyone, they can go back to the clip and they can watch it again. It is shocking. He is basically feeding off the ignorance of people, something which he claims in the God delusion religious people do. Because there's an impression you have to believe in you have to be an atheist to believe in evolution. He's basically promoting evolution because of that. And he's supposed to be an academic, and it's so sad.
He says, if you want to kill religion.
Which is his aim.
I mean, this is pure hatred, right? It's like almost like saying some Muslim coming and saying, I want to kill atheism. I want to kill Dawkins. If someone said something like that, imagine what would happen, right? But now you've got people like Dawkins who are an atheist, and they're coming around and they're saying, if you want to kill religion in a nasty, vindictive way, and nothing's been said about it.
And one of the things that religion teaches, all of religion, is actually speaking the truth.
Yes.
And one of the things that you can see very clearly from Dawkins' video there, he's clearly not in favor of that moral teaching of speaking the truth and actually having integrity. But something I do want to move on to, in his book, he makes this ridiculous thing about religions being constantly violent. Yes, it's true, religion has been violent, but another system, if not a religion, which has been extremely violent over the last 100 years is actually atheism. Yeah. I mean, a conservative estimate of the number of people that have been killed because of atheist regimes is 85 million.
Wow.
Now, you can't compare that to the thousands which have been killed because of religion.
Yeah.
And that's the last 100 years. And they also spoke about, Islam restricts freedom of speech. When atheists, when they took over countries, they restricted freedom of religion, like they did in Uzbekistan, like they did in Kazakhstan and Albania and so many other countries. And in places like Uzbekistan, they boiled people alive. And these are the same atheists which today are pretending like, they're all peaceful, they're all rational, and they've forgotten this bloody history they've
it's
had.
a veil, right? And it's about time that we lift the veil. And in all seriousness, I mean, they make the argument that religion is evil, religion has wars, the murders, killing people. Okay, there is murders and violence in religions, but like you've shown...
That's human nature.
It's human nature. Even atheists are violent, right?
Well, they're much more than anybody else is at the moment.
And this is the thing, so it's a silly, irrational argument. Yeah. Like many other silly, irrational arguments, as you've pointed out in this particular book as well.
Sure.
So I guess to round it off, to conclude, I personally would say that if there's any atheists that are sincere watching this, to stop following like a sheep, blindly following these people such as Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, and so on and so forth, and look into things on a more deeper level.
Yeah. Challenge something which you believe is correct.
Yes. And anything else to conclude?
Well, one thing I would actually conclude when it comes down to the God delusion is this. I would actually put down, just as another added point, that he believes that one of the biggest questions against the existence of God and why God is also a delusion, one of his points is, well, if everything is so well designed, then there's a bigger problem of who designed the designers. We can't say God exists. Mm-hmm. When I would basically say to that is a really, really childish argument.
Yes.
And the atheists who repeat that now and again, I just ask them to think about it. If they come across a very complicated camera, would they refuse to acknowledge the camera has a creator because they'll say, well, who created that creator? And obviously we can't have an infinite regress, which we'll discuss in the other videos.
The best explanation doesn't require an explanation according to the philosophy of science. So what you're saying is that ask the question, but once you accept that the camera has a designer,
sure.
Right? So you have to accept that first, and then you can ask.
And because, like we've got another video coming out explaining who made God, you can't have an infinite regress. Therefore, there must have been a first cause. But that's for another show.
Jazakallah khair, bro. May Allah bless you. Thank you for your time, bro.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.